Liv with a Girl's Guide to Cars, and this is the Polestar 4. Originally, this was available in Europe for a couple months already now, but finally it's here in America. Deliveries are starting in fall of 2025, and I'm here to test it out, to drive it, and to tell you all about it. So let's go. The Polestar 4. Now, don't be confused about the name though, because there's a Polestar 2, there's a Polestar 3. The Polestar 4 actually fits sort of between the two. If you take a look at it here, it's a little bit smaller than the giant SUV of the Polestar 3. It's a little bit bigger than the sedan of the Polestar 2. It's sort of, if you want the best of both, kind of mush them together. This is a bit more planted. It's a little bit more performance oriented in a lot of its size. But as you can see, it still has the gorgeous Polestar sleek, stylish aesthetic. So let's take a look at this. It's absolutely covered with cameras, which can help you with a ton of different things, like cameras on the screens there. This black trim down here as it's lowered and more planted towards the ground. If we come and look at the front of it, you see the sort of trademark Polestar headlights and the very angular kind of sporty stance on the front, this very kind of sporty fascia over here on the hood. But let's go check out the back, because that's where one of the more controversial, a little weirder things is happening. While we're here, this gets up to 200 kilowatt charging speed, which is 10 to 80 in about 30 minutes. That's really pretty darn fast. And while I'm at it, why don't I just tell you, this goes anywhere from like mid 50,000 to mid 60,000, and you can get anywhere from 310 miles of range, or up to 310 miles of range, and up to 544 horsepower. So lots of bang for all your buck, and no slouch in any department. But check this out. There's no rear window. This is the controversial part of the Polestar 4. And when I first learned about it a couple of years ago at Polestar Day, when they told us all about this, when we went for a drive, all along the way, I've been wondering about it, concerned about how it would feel. It doesn't feel bad at all. In fact, it actually feels pretty great on the inside. I'm gonna show it all to you, but as you can see, this contributes to this really elongated body style, which takes a pretty magical effect on the inside and creates a whole lot of room that you just wouldn't think was possible, all by getting rid of the rear window. As you can see, there's a ton of room in the trunk here. The floor is actually lowered right now, so you can raise it up a little if you'd like and have a little bit more storage underneath. But there's a great ton of storage. You have a place for your charging cable. And since I'm showing you all these storage spots, why don't we go look at the front too? All right, so when I said front, I meant frunk, because that's the front trunk. And that's one of the cool things about electric vehicles, is a lot of them have a front trunk. By the way, check out this Polestar logo in body color. This is actually snow is the color, the white color, but this actually illuminates at night, which I think is a really cool touch. So underneath the hood, no engine to worry about, but just a little teeny little place if you want to store some things. This is one of the smaller frunks, but it's enough space to put some things. I don't know. I would like to hear from you. What would you put in your frunk? I know my purse would fit there. Maybe takeout. I'm not sure. But certainly not pets or children. No one else would fit in there. If this is your very own Polestar, then you will have the app. You will be able to have phone as a key, which I love. That's super awesome to always have. But you'll also have a key fob, and you'll also have a key card if you need. And something I love to bring to attention is how the door handles are. Because I have dexterity issues, so with my left hand, I can only use my pointer finger and my thumb, especially if I'm a passenger. That's the hand that I use to get in. But the Polestar door handles are simplistic. That was one tap of a button and they open for me. If I had the app set up, I assume I could walk up and that would happen as well. But even with my limited dexterity, it's easy peasy to open, no problem at all. And then we have this gorgeous edgeless window, which looks super phenomenal. And I can tell you right now, even though this is edgeless, when it seals on the road, it is silent. It is beautifully silent. So let's hop in. Welcome to the interior of the Polestar 4. Now, a couple things that really stand out in here are the sustainable materials and textures. Everything about this cabin is soft touch. So anything that you interact with is super soft touch and lovely feeling. And all of these materials are sustainably sourced or recycled. Like honestly, the majority of this is recycled. This here is a tech knit. Yeah, it's a tech knit, and it's 89 to 92% recycled plastic. They also have a leather interior option if you so wish, and the leather is ethically sourced, as in this is the hide from animals that were used for meat, for eating. So it's not just being used for the leather of its skin. This is using all of an animal, really like working with the ecology and just beautifully done. It's they're actually sourced in Scotland, and they can even trace back to the exact cow that each piece of leather came from. And some of the leather pieces, you might even notice some little imperfections or differences. Those might actually be bug bites that the animal was affected by, because they're not going to just trash a whole piece of hide because there's one little bug bite or something like that. That doesn't compromise anything, but just adds a little imperfection that in a way makes it a unique, beautiful thing. So I think that's a beautiful way that they've woven their materials into their whole design DNA, which is sustainability and beautiful concept and just wonderfully done materials that they work on in-house. It's an absolutely fantastic design DNA, and it's something that I really love about Polestar. So all of this is soft touch, like I said. And then here you have this beautiful satin, a brushed satin that's concealing our microphones and our camera and our glasses, but also your cup holders. But if you want it to look just streamlined and simple, that's okay. You have the satin cover. And I just can't stress enough how gorgeous the textiles are. You have a wireless phone charger right over there. We have the volume knob and the play and stop button. And then right here we have the little bit of storage, and you have two USB-C cables that are inside there. We have, I'll shut this right here, more storage that's underneath. But of course, in my situation, this big center console is the part of what makes it challenging for me as an amputee, since I drive cross-legged. When we get into the driving segment, I'll explain some more about that, but this can make it a little more challenging, but it also does allow us to have a lot more storage, which is super cool. So some of my favorite things about the multimedia display of the Polestar 4, it's horizontal. You'll have to let me know what your preference is, horizontal or vertical. Normally, I've liked a vertical screen, but the horizontal screen in this looks absolutely fantastic. And you have a ton of customization options. And this is especially cool that you can press and hold right there on that little line. And then I can drag and drop and adjust the size of my map screen or of any of my other screens. And I love that we have these different sections here. So we have a whole chunk of a map. And if you want, you can expand your map just with the touch of the home button. But then you have so much information here. You have Polestar Experience, which is what's controlling our drive route today for the drive. We have our music. We have our favorite shortcuts. So one pedal at the touch of a button, headlights at the touch of a button, the trunk as well. And now this is something that's important, that glove box, and I'm going to make cameraman Patrick kind of pivot a little bit, because it bugs me out that the glove box is only accessible through a button, but at least it's something that can be put on the shortcut right there. And we have a Monroney with all the information about the car, but I really appreciate that. So if we're going to be screen dependent, the fact that they have these shortcuts, the favorite shortcuts with 6 different things that you can pick and you can set, that's really awesome. And then we have your favorite apps as well. So 6 different apps that you can choose. And I'm going to pop into our app store because there's an absolute ton of stuff that you can choose for your vehicle, including HBO Max, which, I mean, that's not something you would expect to have in your car. But we have HBO Max, we have YouTube. That's so cool. Obviously, you're not going to use that while you're driving, but you can use that maybe while you're charging or while your kids are sitting in the car, whatever it is. Like, it's lovely to have these apps. And part of that is because this is an Android automotive system. So that's Google built into the system, lets you have all these different apps. But if you're a CarPlay person, that's fine. You can do that too. Now, if we come on over to the smaller little screen on our instrument cluster, this is also really awesome. And as you can see, I'm in map mode right now. That's my favorite. I love having my navigation up there. When I am navigating to a route, then I can see everything I need to do. I see my small turns, and then on the main screen, I can obviously have my larger route. But you can cycle through two other settings. This one is more sort of ADAS focused. It shows you sort of what your vehicle is doing. And then we have a sort of a calmer one that's more simplistic: battery percentage, miles of range, and speed. But I love the map mode. And so those are some of my favorite features that I truly love. And you can also do things like adjust your mirrors from your steering wheel right here, which I think is really, really cool as well, just from these little arrows right here. Another feature that I really, really love about the Polestar, and we'll just touch this little fan right there and get into the climate mode, is they have animal mode and they have keep climate mode. So you can set the climate and leave it on. You can have animal mode. So it's really, really cute, actually. Let's just turn it on. And my owner will return soon. So if you've ever had to leave your pets when you run in somewhere, whatever, anyone who comes and looks at the vehicle and they're making sure your animal's okay, they will be able to see clearly that your pet's okay. Now, I don't know if this little guy has a name, but if it doesn't, I think we need to name them because it's super cute and easy peasy to just pop back out of pet mode. Now, if we go to climate, we see what I consider to be kind of a controversial setting here. And this is how you control your vents. So if you want to adjust your vents, you will come into climate mode. And of course, you could put that into one of your shortcuts if you wanted, but you drag and readjust where your vent stream goes and what your adjustment is. Now, one of the cool things about this is that it can be tied to your profile, to which person you are. So if you get in, if I get in and I like my vents in one way, and if my husband, cameraman Patrick, gets in and he likes his vents in a different way, that could be tied to his profile. Or like if we're different heights, your vents need to aim a different way. So that is a cool thing. But I am sort of really used to just like adjusting my vents while I drive, grabbing things. So I don't know. You'll have to let us know what you think, like which is your preference. But that's how you do it in here. The ambient lighting is another gorgeous and intentionally curated feature in the Polestar 4. As you can see, it's all based on the planets. You can see it here in the daylight and it looks really good, but during the nighttime is when it really shines. The cabin looks absolutely incredible, and this tech knit material that's on the doors and the dash actually shows the light through, which takes us all to a whole nother level. Now, just as important as getting into a vehicle, getting out of a vehicle should be equally as easy, especially if you have any dexterity difficulties. I really love the way that you get out of the Polestar 4. If you can see, there's a little trigger right on the front, and you just pull it up. Easy peasy. As you can see, I did that with one finger. Just took a little bit of force, but not too bad, and then push it out with your elbow. That's how easy it is to get out. So let's do it. The back of the Polestar is also one of the areas that truly shines for multiple reasons. For one, you can see I'm an amputee. I kind of need a little bit of extra leg room to stick my leg out. There's a ton of room in here. I have a ton of leg room, and I have the seat pushed back quite far because I was like sort of more in filming seating than driving seating. So if you want something incredibly spacious, this truly is incredibly spacious. And you can tell that they reclaimed a great deal of space in this vehicle for all your interior usage with their smart design, with removing the rear window. They really grabbed a whole bunch of space for human usage, and it's unbelievably spacious in here and extremely comfortable. Of course, if you're the driver, you're typically going to be enjoying the front seats. But if you commonly are hauling around full adults or, your family, elderly people, whatever, you really want to consider the comfort of your reseating. And this is super comfortable. Now, on this trim, it does not recline, but on other trims, it can recline and heat, which is extra cool. So if you really want to upgrade the experience for your rear passengers, you can go all out. In fact, you can go so all out that you could even put a screen right down here to control the climate and I think the music as well. Yeah, which is awesome. We don't have that. It's totally fine. It's still pretty awesome. And I have to direct your attention upwards because this is like kind of a bummer as the driver that you don't get to experience this, but it is kind of the largest glass roof I've ever seen because it goes so much further back because it can. The entire ceiling of the vehicle is a glass roof and it's phenomenal. Like I feel like I'm not a camp in your vehicle kind of person, and yet I kind of feel like lying in here at night, or hanging out in your vehicle at night and just looking up at the stars would be just awesome. So huge thumbs up for rear comfort back here. Couple more important things before I get out. Of course, we have the child seat fixation. Now, on some cars, you can actually feel these. To be completely honest, I have an Equinox EV and I can feel these on the rear seat because it's just like where your body touches it. But the way that the padding is on the Polestar 4, your body doesn't come into contact with that, which is really, really nice. I really like that. So let's see if I can pull this forward. It's a little tightly packed there. We also have, God, it totally feels like this should come up, doesn't it? But we have some space here for your armrest, for your comfort, rest your phone there while it's charging. And then we have pop-out cup holders, double cup holders, which is so nice. Like this is really large and takes up like the entire space here. It's just really, really cushy. And then the ultimate final thing for rear seat comfort is, of course, that you have a vent on either B pillar that is manual. How cool is that? At least we have manual vents back here. That's pretty cool. Getting behind the wheel of the Polestar 4 is more comfortable than I was expecting, and I'll explain why. Firstly, let me introduce my husband, cameraman Patrick. Thanks for helping us out, Patrick. So I am a right leg amputee, which means that I drive
lane for 1.5 miles.
I drive with my left leg crossed over, and I did not think that this would be doable for me. So as he mutes the navigation. So this center console here is quite large. If you can see, Polestar, they've made this more driver focused, a little more performance oriented, a little more fun and playful. So if that's your vibe, you will love this. But if you need a little bit more legroom, like me, then this might be a concern for you. So for me, because I'm crossing my right leg over, this is making it a little bit uncomfortable for me, and this would be a challenge on a long drive. Now, I said that this surprised me in how nice it was though, because everything else about it is an absolute delight. This is a delight to drive. It is incredibly comfortable. It's really responsive and finely tuned. It doesn't feel overly complicated and it doesn't feel overly simplistic. It just feels perfectly done in the nicest way. It's incredibly refined, but not in like an overly sophisticated way either. It's just lovely to drive and reliable and predictable, and I think that's lovely. So in the same way though, it's also high performance. You can tell that this thing has power, it has incredible suspension, and it has incredible suspension, but it also has good dampening. We just went over a cattle guard and those things are loud. If you've ever gone over a cattle guard, you know how loud that is. And I think you can tell that this is beautifully sealed off. Like I said before, this is wonderfully sealed off. Slight distraction. There are a couple cows over there. That's so great. But obviously we're, sort of in farmland here. We're out in Austin. It's a little bumpy. It's a little dusty and there are cattle guards. But right now we're going over dust and dirt and it's just predictable and beautiful. And so me, with my situation, with my right leg amputation, driving with my left leg, it's not typical for me to be able to get into a car and be comfortable and enjoy it. As we go over another cattle guard, that's not too bad at all, really. But it's not a given, you know, like maybe you're like this and you can just hop into a vehicle and everything's fine, or maybe you have a friend like that and like it's like they can be comfortable in anything, but I'm not that. So I will tell you that I'm shocked at how comfortable this is. And there are a couple other things that I think are really interesting, namely that rear mirror, that rear window or lack thereof that we talked about. So you have a digital display over here, and I think you can see, I thought that that would be weird, right? Foregoing a rear window for a digital display and not having like a mirror properly, but it's actually great. We have this crystal clear, full screen that shows you everything, and it's not a problem at all. I thought that there would be issues with the focal length, you know, focusing right over here and looking forwards and focusing in the distance. Not a problem at all either. It's actually really lovely. And if you want to, you can flip it into mirror mode and you can check your rear seat companions, your family, your dogs, whatever it is. You can do that and it's no problem at all. So I absolutely, I really like that about it. And we'll show you the view of the back, because it more than makes up for the lack of a rear window. It is expansive and gorgeous. Well, that is my time here with the Polestar 4, and I have to be honest, I was not expecting to like it as much as I did, especially with the special driving situation that I have, but this thing was an absolute delight. It's a joy to drive. It is so finely tuned and beautifully curated. Everything is really customizable and flexible for you as the driver. As the sun's coming out and illuminating the snow white Polestar 4. It's a truly awesome performance experience with an absolute ton of space that I can't get over. Like, I cannot get over how much space is in here. This is an SUV sedan sort of mix with honestly very little compromises. In fact, no compromises. I thought that the lack of the rear window would be a compromise, but it's not. The digital display is phenomenal. It has performance at a touch and enough customizability in the driving style that I'm able to feel really comfortable. And it was so awesome to get behind the scenes with some of the Polestar designers and hear all about their intention with the design and the materials. They had an inspo board that was basically like a Pinterest board of all the different things that they brought together to sort of encapsulate the vibe of this, especially the interior. There was a lot of like sport performance materials, you know, Nike shoes and water bottles and stuff like that. So it was all about the way that you interact with something that's designed for sports, the way that the textiles respond to you. And that's part of why it's soft touch on the interior. And it's just so great. A performance powerful vehicle with comfort, great looks, super stylish, and tons of room. That's the Polestar 4. I'm Liv. This is A Girl's Guide to Cars. Check out the link to my article in the description down below, and we'll see you in the next video.